Good morning. It's just after 8:30 in the morning here, and I thought I'd start this video just by showing you where I am at the moment. Just on the beach again. It's just crystal clear, calm glass water this morning, which is not something you'd expect because last night it was very, very, very windy. It was probably blowing about 20 knots of wind, and I've had a bit of bad weather on this trip, lots of rain, but that was the first time where it's been so windy that I actually couldn't put up my tent. Around 5 o'clock I was finishing up for the day, and I'm gonna go sit in the shade because it's very sunny here. I was finishing up for the day and I found this beautiful little spot on the beach. Look, there's the Turkish flag behind me. The wind was picking up, and I was not sure if it was a good idea. There was not much shelter on this beach that I had picked, even though it was otherwise a really great site. And I set up the tent, pegged it down really well, and put the fly on, and the wind was just getting worse and worse, and at some point the whole tent was bending sideways in the wind, and I just said, alright, this is stupid. I can't keep the tent up like this all night, so I'm gonna have to pull it down. So I dismantled it, I think just before the poles were about to break, so saved the tent, which was a win. It would have been really crappy if I broke that tent at this point in the game. So I saved that, but at this point it was starting to get dark, and I had to pack everything back up again because I'd already unpacked, and try and find somewhere new to sleep, which was not a great idea at the time, not a great thought. But anyway, it's the wind has died down now, so it's very calm. It's a very nice day today, in respect to that. And I'm getting ahead of myself a bit because yesterday I recorded that video at 12 o'clock or something. Again, I was at the beach, and I may have seemed a little bit frustrated in that video. That's because I was, and that's because pretty much the first thing that happened yesterday morning, I pulled out of camp. I had a amazing view from my tent of the sunrise, and just really enjoyed that as I packed up. It was really, really beautiful. And then I had to ride about 50 meters back to get to the main road, and then I was riding on the main road after that, and pretty much straight away I had another flat tire. Oh, I'm so done with it. I guess because I checked my tires 10 times yesterday, and then this in the morning before I left, if they had any thorns in them, and they were all good. So I guess in that 50 meters I had to ride to get back to the main road, I rode over a bunch of thorns because my front tire was flat. It had 2 thorns in it, which I pulled out. And then I looked at my rear tire, and it was not deflated, but it also had 2 thorns in it. So, and there was a slow leak in that tube anyway. So in the end, I just I changed both the tires. So that took me about an hour. So although I left kind of early, I didn't really end up getting anywhere until about 9:30. And at this point, it's nice because I'm not stressed about time. When I was in Schengen, I was always stressed even by a flat tire, I'm going to waste so much time here changing this tire. Now at least it's become so routine. I've done it so many times now, I just do it. I just go through the motions, and I'm not even really thinking about it, which is a nice perspective, I suppose. But man, I'm sick of it. I'm getting really sick of it. I feel like I'm repairing more punctures than I am actually riding at this point. I think I've had like 6 punctures in the last like 2 days or something. So I don't know what's going to happen when I get to Istanbul, but if I do continue any further, I'm going to probably get tubeless tires because I'm so sick of repairing flats. Anyway, so I fixed that, and then I kept going along the coast, and I got to that town of Foça, where I recorded the video. And interestingly, at that beach there, I didn't show you on the camera, but there was like dozens and dozens of these like really big blue jellyfish that had like kind of washed up on the beach. I don't know if it was just a certain time of year or there was something in the water, but it seemed kind of like no one was like pointing or anything. It seemed normal for the locals there, so that was interesting. And yeah, the rest of the day was actually like quite beautiful. There was a lot of riding on the coast with big hills and beautiful beach. There was quite a bit of riding on the highway as well, which was not great, and a bit scary with big trucks and stuff. And a bit surprised that the Eurovelo is taking you on these routes, but I guess there's nowhere else to go to get to these places. But yeah, to like pass the time, I was listening to I listened to a podcast with a guy, Bo Miles, who I really like his stuff on YouTube. He makes a lot of like adventure films, and he was talking about being a dad, but I was more interested in the stuff he was saying about his youth, when he was going on these big adventures in his like 20s and 30s, and kind of like him looking back at it now in his 40s and saying, he thinks like he was actually kind of doing it the wrong way, like going out on these big expeditions for months at a time. Like he did a trip around the tip of Africa, the southern tip of Africa, in his kayak, and his plan was just to paddle around the whole thing. It was like 6,000 kilometers or something stupid, and he only did half of it because the weather was so bad. And he reflected on that, saying, probably 1 out of 10 days on that trip were actually fun, and the rest was just really hard work. And he says like that was kind of a turning point for him, because he realized he needed to kind of do things a bit differently, and make his adventures like fun and not just work, because that's kind of what they turned into be. And I was reflecting on that a lot throughout the day, because I feel like this trip has been fun, but it has also been a lot of work. And I don't think it's been a 1 out of 10, but I think maybe 5 or 6 out of 10 like days have been fun, and the rest has been hard work. And reflecting on what Louisa asked me when we were in Italy, she asked me, have you had fun on your trip? And I said, well, yes, but you don't do these kind of trips to have fun. It's a challenge. And I don't know, I think I just need to try harder to have fun, because it is supposed to be, yes, it's an adventure, yes, it's a challenge, but what's the point if you're not having fun? And yeah, that kind of stuck with me, because I listened to another podcast after that about a young guy who was only 24, riding his motorcycle down South America, and like trying to catch the surf break at every town he went to. And he was 2 months into his trip, and he just said he was stoked the whole time, having the best time of his life. And I was just thinking, well, why am I not like that? And I guess it's not fair to compare, and it's not a good idea to compare either, but maybe I need to do something differently. And it is very easy to get stuck into your own routine when you're by yourself, because you have no one to tell you any other way to do it. So I've just been doing it the way that makes sense to me, and I think that works in some scenarios and it doesn't work in others. And yeah, I think I just need to work harder on having fun. And unfortunately yesterday was not that much fun, because yeah, like I was saying, I tried to put up my tent in the afternoon and the wind almost broke it, so I had to pull it down. And then I rode into the next town looking for somewhere to camp. I found a little park next to the mosque, and I thought, all right, well, I'll just put my tent here and hope that no one does anything about it. I'll be gone in the morning. And so I went down. I was about to start cooking dinner, and then I just thought, no, I can't be stuffed. So I went down to the beach, and there was a restaurant there. So I went in and had a nice meal, and no one there spoke English, so I just kind of pointed at a few things that I wanted, and they were really nice. They let me try a few things before I decided what I wanted and all that stuff. I had a beer, and I watched the sunset, which was quite beautiful, and got to use the internet, which was good. Yeah, just been planning about the next leg of the trip, which is a mistake because I haven't even got to Istanbul yet. So I really need to focus on just doing that before planning the next thing. It's been such a big trip just to get here, and to already be thinking about the next thing is such a mistake. I recognize that. So I need to just put that aside for the next days or weeks or whatever until I get to Istanbul. Just forget about it. My goal is to get to Istanbul. Whatever happens after that is a different story. So yeah, had dinner, and then around 9:30 I went to pay, and it was very expensive. I couldn't believe how big the bill was actually. It cost about $40, which may not sound like much for someone in Australia, but for here in Turkey I was expecting it to be about half of that. So yeah, that kind of blew my daily budget out of the water. But I guess it was a learning lesson. That's all I can take it as. So I had to pay it because that's how much I owed, and it's not like I could say I couldn't afford it, because I can afford it. I just didn't want to pay it. So I have that privilege. I can afford it, so I paid it. And but yeah, it kind of put another dampener on the day, which it was already hard. And then I went back to the park, and I in the end I didn't even set up my tent. I just put my mattress underneath like a rotunda and just slept there, and I had one of the worst night's sleep of my whole life. I think there was mosquitoes attacking me. There was cars driving past every 10 minutes, shining their lights in my face and making lots of noise. And then the mosque did the call to prayer at about 4 a.m. this morning, so that woke me up as well, which I knew was going to happen, but still. And on top of that, my air mattress now has a leak in it, so I had to inflate that a few times throughout the night as well. So that's another thing that I'll need to get sorted at some point, because having a working sleeping mat is quite important. So yeah, I'm going into this day quite tired, despite it being a very beautiful day, and kind of just almost wishing it to be over, which is a shame. I really don't want it to end like that. So yeah, I hope I can kind of pick myself up today and feel a bit better about this final part of the trip. And yeah, just reflecting on the other day, I stopped at a little market and got an ice cream at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was just looking around the town, and it's a small town, and people were just going about their daily business, nothing particularly exciting. And I'm sitting there, I was standing there with my ice cream and my bike and all my expensive equipment and stuff, and I just thought, it doesn't matter how many flat tires I have to repair, it doesn't matter if my mattress has a hole in it, doesn't matter if I have to sleep in a rotunda, getting attacked by mosquitoes. I am so privileged to be here. you know, these people may not ever leave their town, let alone their country, and I'm here just traveling the world on a whim, basically. And my only worry is if I'll get a puncture, you know, that day. So bloody hell, I'm so lucky, and I just need to remember that. So before I get too emotional, I'm going to end this video here. Yeah, let's hope for a good day today. Fingers crossed.